It's Friday afternoon. We're in our last class of the day before we go home and play video games all night, stay up late, eat junk food and sleep in tomorrow morning. We're laughing, we're joking, we're having a good time since it's last period of class. The final bell goes and I get to the door, but the teacher stops me. She just puts out her hand like this and she says, "Stop, wait a second. I need to talk to you." So I step to the side, I let everyone else go. She closes the door and she brings me over to her desk. And I thought I was in trouble because the other day, around 2 or 3 days before this happened, I saw 2 kids in the bathrooms doing graffiti on the walls, right? But I didn't snitch because I wasn't a snitch, right? But other people were in the bathrooms as well who promised not to snitch. So I thought those people had snitched on me for not snitching. And that's why I thought I was in trouble. But luckily no one found that out, and this is the first time I've ever said this. Bro, imagine if someone at my school sees this shit. But no, my teacher is basically explaining to me how horrible I did on my test that we had to do about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I was known in my school as a pretty smart kid who got pretty good grades. So if someone found out that I didn't get the best grade, I would get shit for the next few months. Because of that, I put so much pressure on myself. So my face blew up red. I started stuttering every single sentence. I put that awkward smile on my face, if you get what I mean by that. When you know something's going to shit, but you're trying to keep a smile on your face because you don't want to draw any attention. That's the type of smile I'm talking about. I'm guessing someone can relate to me, right? I started sweating a lot and she saw that I was stressing the F out. And she told me that I actually did really, really well on it, which I did. She was just joking, right? Oh, and bro, I was definitely relieved, but I had even more stress because I just exposed myself in front of this teacher, right? I was so nervous. And at this point in my life, I was known as that confident dude at school, who made content on specifically how to improve confidence for men. So to see me with all those poor communicative traits, if you want to call them that, that's going to go around the whole school. My life has ended. My high school reputation is gone. And I beat myself up so much for that. I got home that night expecting to just play video games and eat junk food and have a good time. I spent the whole entire night studying, trying to become a better communicator. I ordered like 3 or 4 of the most popular communicator books, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Influenced by Robert, I think it's something like Cialdini or something like that. I'm probably saying that really, really wrong. And a few more I can't exactly remember, but I studied these all night. I watched all these YouTube videos. The books arrived like a week later. I read them all in like a week. And luckily this teacher had 3 months of long service leave around a week after this has actually happened. So I made it a goal for myself to become basically the best communicator this teacher has ever seen, the most confident 16-year-old she has ever seen within 3 months. I'm gonna go up and talk to this teacher again when she comes back, and I'm gonna be a completely changed man. So I began my journey for 3 months. I studied probably communication maybe 1 to 2 hours per day. I still did my schoolwork, my homework, I still made videos, and talking on camera was also a form of, improving my communication. But talking on camera, in my opinion, is a lot different than talking to people in real life. Because I could talk on camera very, very well, but I couldn't talk to people. And I'll explain to you why that is in a minute. Just stick around. And the first thing that I learned, it was very, very common sense, but it's something that I had just forgotten about, is to talk a lot slower if you want to improve your communication. You have to talk at a speed that is comfortable for you. When I'm speaking on camera, right, I'm not going through these videos in one whole go, right? Because if I did, I'd go off track, I would, just fucking yap and you wouldn't be interested in it. All right, so I need to, keep some sort of script going, but not too much that I sound like a robot. But I talk at a speed, on camera and off camera, which I know what I'm going to say after I say something, if you get what I mean by that. I'm not talking too fast, I have no idea what I'm gonna say after this. And I'm changing my tone. You really listen to this. If I'm talking really fast, you're not gonna listen to it. But if I talk very, very slow, you see how you're listening very, very closely to my voice. The speed you speak at is very, very important. The slower you speak, the more power your words have. And the second thing, I can't exactly remember where I learnt this from, but it has definitely been a massive thing that has saved me on so many occasions from saying something wrong and destroying my reputation. And that is waiting at least, at the bare minimum, 3 seconds before you answer a very, very important question. Not every single question, like what's your favorite color? Blue. Like, no, right? But a very, very important question. So a very, very important question for me would be, where do you want to be this time in 3 years? This 3 years from now, where do you want to be? I will take probably 5 to 10 seconds to answer that question to somebody. And initially, I was very, very scared of doing that because I was afraid of the silence, the awkward silence. But silence is not awkward. It's only awkward if you believe it's awkward. And the third thing that has really, really helped me become a better communicator, it's pretty common sense, but it is improving my vocabulary, enhancing my vocabulary. When I was a 16-year-old kid, I was talking very, very Aussie bogan, which, I still do. It doesn't mean you know the craziest words in the universe, because you sound like a robot. However, I took the things, or the words, or the sentences I used to say a lot of, and I simply researched synonyms for these words, and I said them more often. I said them more on camera where I practiced, right? And this really got me into the rhythm of saying these words to make me a more interesting person to speak to. So this teacher's come back to school. I've got these 3 to 5, they're the main 3 things. I had a bit more communication techniques, and I believe I'm the most confident 16-year-old there is. I walk into school that day, I know she's gonna be there because she told us she'd be back this day. I can't wait to show her what I'm made of, like when I talk to her next. I walk past her, I think it was like recess or lunchtime, and we start having a conversation. And I remember these 3 techniques at the back of my mind, but they just go out the window. I can't exactly remember how it happened, but something that she said made my face, or something that I said, made my face go really, really red. I was nervous. I hadn't been nervous for like maybe 3 or 4 months. I had been, but not this nervous, because this teacher, I wanted to impress her. Because I was nervous, my heart started beating really, really fast. I started stuttering, and it was all over. It was even worse than the previous time because I thought I was gonna do better this time, so I beat myself up even more. I started learning more communication techniques after that, but none of the shit worked. None of it worked when it came down to actually speaking to someone that was important. I could speak to the camera fine, I could speak to my friends fine, but if it was an attractive woman or a teacher that I wanted to impress, I don't really know why I wanted to impress this teacher, because she wasn't like the most attractive in the world because she was kind of older. It didn't matter how good of a communicator I was if I had an immense amount of pressure on myself to perform. It all went out the window. Everything I had built, it all went out the window in high pressure situations. And one night, I can't exactly remember when it was, but it was probably a week or 2 after the second encounter with this teacher, I realized that it didn't matter how good I was gonna be, I needed to let go of the fear of not performing well. I needed to let go of the fear of having a perfect conversation. So I began a really deep psychological analysis on myself and finding the deep root cause of why I'm actually so nervous in front of these specific people. And look, it was mostly with women. It wasn't really with men. It was all with women. And the reason why that was because I lacked attention from especially women in primary school. So I valued it so much. My face used to go red, in year 7, so much, bro. And the girls would always be the ones to pick on me for it, and that's all I wanted, just attention from them. So I put myself, I put so much pressure on myself to get it. Admiration. I couldn't control if a girl liked me or not. I couldn't control that. So I was seeking something I didn't have control over. And that anxiety was the reason I was not a good communicator. And I realized that, and I said to myself, why do I need a woman's attention to be complete? I already am. And this is where I really adopted the mindset of it's the girl, not a girl that you need to impress. You don't need to impress everybody. You need to impress a certain somebody. And when you impress yourself, then you will impress that certain somebody. I want you to think of your communication skills like tap water, okay? You have the water before it goes through the pipes and before it goes through the actual tap to get to you. You have the initial water itself. And that water, I'm guessing, is, you know, rainwater or really, really high quality water. Let's just say it is, even if it's not. Let's just say it's really, really high quality water. And some people believe, and I personally believe, that tap water isn't the best for you. I personally drink filtered water, but you do whatever you want to do. Goes through the pipes and shit, and it gets dirty. You know, some pipes, not all, but some. Yeah, because it's full of clunk and just dirt, and the water is not the best quality, right? The clunk and the dirt in the pipes is your confidence. It's the anxiety that stopped my, you know, it's like a blockage right here when I'm speaking. It doesn't matter how good of a communicator I am. If I am very, very anxious in what I'm saying, I'm not going to communicate to my fullest capability. Before you have very, very high quality water, you need to clean this pipe. And it's the same thing with communication. Doesn't matter how good of a communicator you are if you're not confident in your voice. So first of all, if you're an anxious person, do that psychological analysis I did with myself. Sit down with yourself and find the root cause on why your anxiety exists in the first place, okay? If it's really, really bad, go see someone about it. But embrace that as well. Embrace your anxiety and then move on to actually improving your communication. Think of the tap water example, bro. That's basically the best way I can sum it up. That is how you speak like a pro. Much love, bro. And I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.